on your side. This is WNCT 9 News at 6.
By the end of this upcoming weekend, we're going to see daytime highs falling back into the mid-80s. Until then, unfortunately, we're going to stay stuck under a canopy of heat and humidity. Right now, we're 88 degrees in Greenville, but that's actually a rain-cooled reading. We were well into the 90s a couple of hours ago. Still in the 90s in Kinston and Kenansville, with heat indices topping 100 degrees in many of our southern locations. You'll find it more tolerable the farther north you go, simply because the showers and thunderstorms have been affecting some of our northern counties today. Everything has remained below severe limits so far. Hopefully that trend will continue, but we'll certainly monitor for any flare-ups. Up in a few minutes, we'll talk about a cold front that'll bring much cooler weather and a better chance of storms for the weekend. The longest-running newscast in the East starts now.
I feel like it'll always be an issue just because of the location, but it'll definitely improve how bad it's been.
Now at 6, residents in Surf City share their thoughts on an upcoming flood mitigation project, how the issue has impacted them over the year.
Officials broke ground for 2 new facilities to be built in the town of Bridgeton. I'm Adriana Hargrove with what this means for the community.
And the city of Greenville is looking to get rid of a rule that could eventually bring more bars to Uptown. How they're hearing your thoughts on this rule tonight. And that is where we begin on your news at 6. Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Watlington.
And I'm Angie Quesada. Thanks for joining us. Happening right now, a public meeting to discuss the future of Uptown Greenville's 500-foot bar ordinance.
But before we get to this hearing, we first want to tell you about how we got to this point. Back in 2010, the city of Greenville established the ordinance so bars could not open within 500 feet of another bar. When the pandemic hit 2 years ago, businesses shut down, freeing up tons of space across Uptown. Now City Council wants to end the 500-foot ordinance so more restaurants and bars can open and Uptown can continue to grow.
What we found since that time, and it was certainly impactful at the time and had the desired outcome, I think, that the council was looking for. But what we've discovered is that it's really kind of hindered the growth of the Uptown area in some different ways since that time.
This plan to change the ordinance is not new to the city. It's been in conversation with city leaders since back in late 2020.
And so we find ourselves here today, this public hearing going on right now. And here's a live picture from that meeting. The city had 2 meetings already today to hear from the public. Some people during those meetings say the bars could bring too much noise and might deter people from expanding in Uptown, while others say the growth is what is needed for the area.
This kind of push and pull of whether we should have more or should not have more. And so that's what these discussions are about. If we were to loosen up, the 500-foot separation rules would no longer apply.
The meeting just started in Town Hall and will include a presentation on the ordinance as well as public comment time.
And while the City Council hears from you, the public this evening, business owners like Brett Oliverio at Sup Dogs are looking toward the future of this change. He wants to make sure this rule change is done right.
I don't think anybody wants, penny liquor or free beer type bars. I think everyone wants nice, fun, quality places to go to. And so I'm hoping that's the case.
Oliverio adds he believes more quality drinking establishments in Uptown would only bring more customers to businesses like his and others. We want to hear from you tonight about this ordinance. In tonight's Vote Now on 9 poll, we're asking, do you think the 500-foot bar ordinance is stopping growth in Greenville's Uptown area? You can vote right now. Head to WNCT.com/vote or use the free 9 on your side mobile app and find Vote Now on 9 in the menu. You can see the latest results later tonight right here on WNCT.
More business and economic opportunities are coming to the east. The community of Bridgeton is welcoming a new ABC warehouse and retail store. 9 on your side's Adriana Hargrove spoke with project developers on what they hope this brings to the east.
After outgrowing the office and warehouse space located near Glen Burnie Road, a much more bigger warehouse with more office space and a more modern retail ABC store will be built here along US 17. The 10,000 square foot warehouse will deliver alcohol to restaurants and bars or anywhere else within Craven County that sells alcohol. The 5,000 square foot retail store on the other side will be the 6th ABC store in the county and will also have a tasting area. Denny Bucher, a member of the board of ABC Commission, says bringing these businesses to Bridgeton will benefit the town economically due to a lack of manufacturing and retail stores.
They've lost some businesses here. There's a restaurant over here that closed after the pandemic. The hurricane that came through 4 years ago was devastating to this little town. A lot of homes were damaged and destroyed. So they're kind of looking to rebuild and to get the growth going here.
Ferrier and Sons, a local construction company in Farmville, will be constructing these facilities. Now, Randall says construction should start in mid-August and should be completed within a year. Butcher says they hope the retail store will open around Labor Day in 2023. In Bridgeton, Adriana Hargrove, 9 on your side.
New tonight, the Pitt County Health Department is reporting the first case of monkeypox in the county. So far, there are more than 38 cases in North Carolina. That number up from 24 total cases just a week ago. The state health department says anyone who has been in close contact with someone diagnosed with the virus is eligible for the vaccine.
An update tonight on a shooting that killed one person on Kennedy Circle in Greenville back on June 23rd. This man, Andrevius Spencer, is behind bars for his possible role in the murder of Iden Arrington. Authorities in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania arrested him today. Spencer is the second suspect police were looking for after arresting Carlos Cox the night of that shooting. If you're in Morehead City today, you may have noticed the library doors closed. That's because the Occupational Safety and Health Administration is investigating after a contractor fell from the roof and died. That man, 36-year-old Miguel Delgado of Beulahville, fell around 8:30 this morning. Details are limited as OSHA continues the investigation tonight.
Starting today, people who were convicted of felonies but are not currently serving time in jail or prison can register to vote. Now, this applies to people on parole, probation, or post-release supervision. Earlier this year, a court struck down a law that blocked these people from voting. State Republicans are appealing that decision.
This is the most significant voting rights expansion since the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And so for over 55,000 North Carolinians to have their voting rights restored is truly a historical moment.
Once a person has paid their debt to society, then they should get their citizenship rights back. They should be able to vote. But while you're on probation, guess what? You're still making payments, if you will, on that debt to society.
The state Supreme Court is going to take up the case at some point, but it's not clear yet when that's going to happen.
Back here in the east, one coastal town is working to resolve an issue that's been troubling residents for years. Flooding along South Shore Drive in Surf City is preventing people from getting in and out from Topsail Beach. 9 Your Side's Claire Curry joined us live where that project is taking place. Claire, what are you learning about the plans?
The South Shore Stormwater Feasibility Study looks at ways to reduce flooding. And with some recent funding, the town is ready to get started.
We went back and looked at historical rainfall data and were able to really pinpoint the events in which, is causing this nuisance flooding.
Town manager Kyle Brewer says they will be installing a new infiltration chamber system that collects the water and releases it back into the ground. He adds that over the years, they've received multiple calls about flooding being an issue for cars and pedestrians on the road.
That was occurring probably about 4 or 5 times a year, where it was actually causing major disruptions.
And one local, Ryan Starkey, is a 10-year resident and says this has always been an issue.
Driving to work, I would usually see a bunch of neighborhoods that would be flooded, especially during hurricane season. It would get really bad. Some days I wouldn't even be able to drive through and I would have to call off of work.
The town will be using $800,000 in grants from the Golden Leaf Foundation and North Carolina Emergency Management towards their plans.
We're just happy to be able to move forward with the project and then be able to monitor the results.
And adds they're looking forward to partnering with the North Carolina Department of Transportation and WK Dixon to help improve their resiliency. Brewer says that next week there will be a meeting to discuss exactly when this project will start, and he hopes it will be finished up before the end of the year. Live in Surf City, Claire Curry, 9 on your side.
Claire, thank you. Still ahead on your news at 6, the Mega Millions jackpot is growing. How you can increase your chances of winning one of the largest prizes ever.
A family tradition since the 1970s is the next stop on our Living Local series. I'm Cheyenne Pagan with more about Duplin Winery coming up.
Also coming up next, your complete Storm Team 9 7-day forecast. It's been another hot and muggy day of weather outside today, but we do have some relief coming our way for the weekend. We'll talk about the changes next.